Hey guys, Kevin here again with the Feeder Group at EXP, here to shoot my weekly video where we talk about all things real estate related. So any questions you guys have about the real estate market, about investing, about life as a real estate agent, please hit me in the comments below. Let me know what you want to hear. I'll make sure to shoot a video about it next week. And please hit that subscribe button, give us a like if you're liking the content. This week, we're going to talk about the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when flipping houses. One of the main reasons that I got into real estate in the first place was to learn about investing. And as a realtor, I advise clients on how to make the best investments. When listing a lot of homes, I get to see where sellers overlook things or sometimes make mistakes in their home flips. What's good for my client's business is good for my business. So I want to take this week to let the buyers know the 5 things that they should avoid when looking at home flipping. Make sure you watch the video from beginning to end because just missing one of these mistakes can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. All right, mistake number 1, underestimating your rehab costs. I see buyers come in thinking that the repair cost will be $30,000 when in fact it's a lot closer to $60,000. Now this can happen for 2 reasons. One is that they don't actually know the cost, and that can happen a lot in the pandemic where the cost of materials will skyrocket. The second is to estimate the cost that it will take them to do the job if they do it themselves. This is not the real rehab cost, and it's not scalable. If you're going to do these properties time and time again, you're going to need to be able to pay other people to do the work, and you're going to need to know the real costs involved. Mistake number 2 is overdoing the rehab. So many people come in and make the changes that they want to make in their home. This is not your dream home. You need to rehab the house based on the comps. One example of this is popcorn ceiling. Sure, this can look nice and it can add value, but if the homes that are selling in the area all have popcorn ceiling, you're going to be spending money that's not creating value. It's what the buyers expect. When doing renovations, you want to see your costs at least double. So if you're spending $1,000, you want to be able to get at least $2,000 back. Spending $1,000 fixing the popcorn ceiling might not be worth it for you. We see this time and again with different finishings and floorings. The best way to know where to spend the money is by copying the comps. Look at what's sold in the area and what they've done to the house and just copy that. The third biggest mistake is speculating the after repair value. So just like the one before, we need to copy the comps or go off what's already selling in the area. If other homes are selling for $600,000, we need to copy exactly what they're doing and expect a sale of $600,000. If we think that we can do better upgrades and get a sale of $650,000, this is where we can run into trouble. This can also go in the other direction. If we underestimate the repair value, when we're buying it calculating the numbers, we won't make an offer higher enough and we'll get outbid by another buyer. So when you're estimating the ARV or after repair value, make sure that you compare apples to apples and make sure you're doing what's needed for the area. Which brings us to mistake number 4, one that we saw very commonly in this pandemic, and that is underestimating the timeline. A lot of people do the math and think that if it takes them 2 months to rent the property, they'll have it flipped in 3 months. That would mean they'd have to do exactly the amount of work in the exact amount of time and get a perfect offer in the first day of listing that has a 30-day closing. But since the pandemic, we've seen major delays in material and shortage in tradespeople, causing a lot of these projects to go much longer than they anticipated. Another thing to consider is that even once the renovations are done, you still need to list that property, find the right buyer, and have that buyer be able to close in a short period of time. You also have the problem if the buyer backs out of the deal and going back to the market and relisting, again, extending the closing date some more. Number 5 is money costs, one that people often overlook, and that's what it's costing you to finance the project. If you're making mistake number 4 and underestimating the timeline, this can be very costly. Many people just don't realize how expensive the lending fees can be. A lot of people will take the sale price minus the cost of rehab, minus the realtor commissions, minus the closing costs, and think they have the net profit. But in this, you're missing a huge cost, which is the lending cost, and also taxes, utilities, and insurance. Of course, if you're a cash buyer, then you don't have this cost. But again, it's a business that isn't scalable or sustainable. You need to be able to build in the money costs into all your projects to make sure that you're profitable always in the future. Now here's a bonus tip. If you're ever cutting costs like the lender fees or the cost of construction just to make the deal work, it's probably a red flag that the deal isn't for you. I see this time and time again where people will cut corners to make the deal work, but in the end, something bad happens and it just doesn't work out for them. All right, so just to recap, we'll go through the 5 biggest mistakes that you can make when flipping a house. Number 1 is underestimating the rehab cost. Number 2 is overdoing the rehab. Number 3 is speculating the after repair value. Number 4 is underestimating the timeline. And number 5 is not calculating the money costs. If you do one of any of these 5 wrong, this can end up costing you tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands depending on the size of the project. Thanks for watching, And again, please, any questions you have, put in the comments below. And if you're liking these videos, please give us a like and make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can get notified of all these videos in the future.